Cool.
Welcome to the Kansas City Sportscast. I'm Travis Wright.
I'm Steve Moser.
And today we're in 4K. Is that crazy? Sorry to scare you guys. We're all up close and personal. All up in your business. All right, so this week, well, actually, if you've noticed, we only do podcasts when our teams win. Pretty much.
Yeah. We lost. Who cares? Who talks about that?
We don't have time to do a podcast this week. They lost. So
Well, actually, it got off because our last one was a week and a half because we did it on Friday
that's true.
because I didn't have a car that week.
Mm-hmm.
And then I remember you thinking, like,
Hey,
when you texted me, like, it was pretty good, but I think we need to do it early in the week. And I was like, I agree.
yeah, because we just didn't have enough time to get it published.
Right.
By the time it got published, another game was getting ready to happen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Other stuff's happened.
So,
So I guess a week and a half. So we actually have 2 weekends.
yeah. So actually, the Chiefs lost to the Packers.
So did you go to either game, Packers or Vikings?
Did not. No.
I actually went to a cool game, KU Texas Tech.
Ah, nice. How was that?
It was fun. KU won on a last-second field goal.
Really?
Yep, it looked like it was.
Wow, that sounds exciting.
Well, they were going to win, trying to kick a game-winning field goal, and Texas Tech blocked it.
Oh, wow.
And then they recovered the block, and then the guy started running with it and tried to lateral to a teammate, but KU pounced on it with 2 seconds left still.
Really?
Like, if he had just let it time run out, it would have went overtime. And so then when he got the second chance, he made it.
Oh, nice.
But I don't know. It's good to see KU win a league game.
That is true. Very cool. Very cool.
Then they got killed by K-State. So.
Oh, man, that sucks. Yay!
Well, I think actually it's more K-State is a solid top 25 team this
That's
year.
true. They are. They're pretty good.
Yep.
Consistently. And their new coach is doing a pretty good job. Seems like. Keeping them on track. So in this week in review, we're going to talk about the Chiefs and the Packers. We're going to talk about a little bit of the Chiefs and Vikings, which was a pretty epic game. Tyreek Hill, how fast is he?
Oh, yeah.
Fast AF.
I think that one play was like encapsulated, like when he's like, I need to be out front blocking. And then he's like, it almost seemed like, oh, I'm faster than him.
Yeah.
But then he felt bad, like, oh, no, it's your
No.
your touchdown. And then he
I'll let
held
you
up and let him go back in there.
Yeah, and then we're also going to talk KU Duke, which
That's
is
right.
actually going on right now. We don't know the final. We've only watched about.
Also, we have a little last final episode of baseball, I think.
That's true. The World Series ended. That is over.
The first World Series where the road team won every single game.
That was weird.
That is weird.
Well, I realized that at about game 3. I was like, wait a second. The home team has been sad at the end of every. Like, the home team was never happy during this World Series.
Completely quiet, yeah. That's weird.
You know, it's weird. The opposing team wins each one. But think about
There was
the
one.
sadness of every game, the home team left.
Well, there was
sadness.
one back in high. I remember there was one.
That's horrible.
Back in college, there was one where the home team won every game. Which you would think
That seems
might
more
have.
natural.
That's
Yeah.
But still kind of
away team.
weird.
That
Anyway,
was really weird.
Yep.
All right, so here we are. So since this is in VR, there's like no pausing it and going.
Okay.
It's like, we're going.
So I guess our first, the main topic should be the Chiefs.
Main
Obviously,
topic should be the
right?
Chiefs.
Don't you think? Right?
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, dude.
6-3, sitting. Not. We probably wanted to be 7-2 or 8-1, but that's still fine.
I wanted to be 9-0. I mean, I really thought there was a slim chance that we could have gone undefeated this year.
Oh,
If last year was any indication, I said, nah, it's possible if he's still in beast mode. I said, but then again, it's also all about injuries. If your team could stay healthy.
Well, that's the
your
thing
team
with football. Who knows?
You
right?
never know. I mean,
I don't know. I think they could have. I think they would have beat Green Bay with a healthy Mahomes.
Yep. And they did beat the Ravens.
And actually, watching Tyreek Hill be at full strength, wasn't he like he's injured?
Well, he hurt his collarbone, so that's one of
No,
those.
I mean when the Chiefs were losing, he
was
I
out.
think it seemed like we were down a few people, right?
Well, you know what? I think he got back right about the time when we started losing some.
I guess we should research
So it's
that
probably
before
his,
we.
it's probably his fault. Let's blame him. Damn you, Tyreek. Quit being so fast and making us lose. You know what? But I tell you, I was pretty impressed with Matt Moore.
Oh, yeah.
Matt Moore, aside from
That is exactly what you want
you're
in a backup quarterback to be.
That whole scenario, because my son and I, we were in Denver for his birthday, and we were at that game. And,
man, he was just as accurate as he was still better than Joe Flacco, I think. Yeah. Don't you think?
The second half, in the first couple plays he did, he just looked horrible. Which I think he's got to shake the
probably
rust off
nervous,
a little bit, right? Definitely nervous.
God.
How do you come in and be after Mahomes? And it's been wild watching Mahomes having even
actually maybe in the long run this is better when you hit the postseason. Your backup quarterback is confident. Well, hopefully they don't need me, but in case they do,
right? That's how the Chiefs. That happened to the Chiefs in 1969. Lynn Dawson.
Well, the Eagles just won a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Backup.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying there's precedence and even a parallel from the Chiefs' previous championship team. The quarterback did go out for a couple, few weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. I don't know how many weeks. I think I seem to recall Lynn Dawson only playing like 6 or 7 games that year or something. So maybe it was like
also
he was injured a lot.
What is the new safety's name? I can't remember.
Juan Thornhill?
Yes. That guy, he's very good.
Statistically, he is hard to play against. Like, people aren't completing a lot of passes against him.
No. I was just thinking about that. That's the Chiefs' defense improvement, I think. I was thinking, they haven't had a good guy, since those guys were younger, Derek Johnson and Eric Berry, their younger days.
Yeah, before they got all injured and shit.
I don't think. And the other, Chris Jones.
Yeah, he's back. That was really nice to see him back. You know what? The defense, I read this, the defense.
So if they could just play averagely, you know what I'm saying?
Well, listen to this. The quarterback pressures or in the backfield plays over the last three games, the Chiefs have had 69 of those, including 20 either for a loss or in the quarterback's area, rushing the passer, getting all up in his face. 69 times in the last 3 games. That is huge, because that's one thing you have to do if you're going to beat freaking Tom Brady and the Patriots is you got to have a little bit of pressure on Tom Brady, because you're not going to beat Tom Brady if you ain't getting through that offensive line.
Nope.
And I tell you, that's been one of the things with Belichick is that he always has a strong defense, because that's his his bread and butter is defense. But him having a healthy, badass offensive line, that has been instrumental in keeping Tom Brady healthy and keeping Tom Brady just in the pocket so we can make those great plays.
But the difference is with Baltimore and Houston, you have to play it the other way.
Right.
So that's kind of a challenge,
Well, there's going to be more and more players, I think, that's going to start popping up.
Well, actually, the new Indianapolis quarterback's the same way, I guess.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And Baltimore.
And I think probably Mahomes could run more, and I think maybe I think maybe if he hadn't gotten injured more this year, he probably would. He likes to stay in the pocket or at least stay in there. But, dude, sometimes they're so concerned where he's going to throw the ball, he can run it for. If he wanted to. They just don't really build that into the play. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but if you totally see but you got to make the decision super fast.
Yeah, but he'll see somebody that's wide open, then he'll just launch it.
All right. Or you could say
60 yards. It's crazy.
I could run for 15 yards for sure.
Yeah,
I hope I don't get crunched 5 seconds from now. I know those guys don't think like that. I would think like that.
Well, he's a pretty big dude. Mahomes is pretty strong.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Sean Watson, that dude is I was watching them play the Patriots. That was a very good game, Ravens and Patriots, and he is so.
Oh, they look like a better team.
Smooth with his. They have set up plays where he's going to run. Mm-hmm. The whole play is he's going to run, but he's going to fake it to this guy and then do a, hidden maneuver with his hands, so it makes it look like it's totally gone. And then next thing you know, he's running for 20 yards.
Yeah, at first I was glad it was in Baltimore to get because I wanted Baltimore to win, but then during the second half, I was now I kind of was curious, had that been in Foxborough, if Baltimore still wouldn't have won.
They looked really good, and it was really nice to see somebody.
I'm glad we put
the womp down on the Patriots.
Well, it's kind of nice to see the Chiefs played Baltimore already. I'm glad that's not on the schedule.
Yeah. Well, the fact is,
also it would be nice if
the Ravens lose one more game.
If the Chiefs and the Ravens have the same record at the end,
yeah, then we'll have that.
tie
we'll
break.
have better home field.
They're
advantage.
both 12-4 or something.
Yeah, for sure. We'll have that up on them, which will be good, which is huge. Which I think
but then they don't have it with Houston and in Indianapolis.
Well, think about this: is that have we played super good at home anyway?
No, they've played better on the road. That's weird.
Played kind of averagely at home. We've lost 3 games at home, undefeated on the road. We've only won, 2 home games? Yeah. We've won 2 home games, 3 home games left.
2 and 3.
Yeah.
4-0 on the road. Yeah,
4-0 on the road. Going on the road this week. Do you think Mahomes is going to play? What would you do if you were Andy Reid? Would you have Mahomes play, or would you have him come back full strength after the bye?
Oh yeah, because that'd be 3 more weeks, right?
Well, you get this week off, and then a bye week off, and then that week.
No, there's 2 more games.
For Mexico. Is there?
This week you got at Tennessee, then you got at the Chargers in Mexico.
Okay.
Then the bye week.
Okay. So we want to play the Chargers. We want to play them in Mexico. And that's one of our home games, right?
No, that's the Chargers home game.
It's the Chargers home game.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I think they were trying to do it last year, but then the field got all torn up.
Yes, but that was going to do that with the Rams, right?
Yeah, there's something about the league. They have like all these London games, and now they're going to start having Germany games. So they got to – I don't know how they figure out who only gets 7 home games or whatever.
Yeah, well, if that's the case and they're doing all that, why did they get rid of the World Football League? Like, the NFL should have just paid for that, because you have these teams that are basically the minor leagues, and there was a lot of great players that came up from the World Football League that ended up making it in the NFL.
I mean, AAA football.
Yeah.
I would see, they always had AAA football on in the off season. I don't know. I can't speak for other sports fans, but for me, like what was that last league called? They had about 8 teams. They had all the coaches. Well, they had like Steve Spurrier was a coach.
Right.
Was
that
no, it was serious football.
XFL?
It was real football.
Yeah.
It wasn't like phony or anything, but it was on during college basketball season. It's kind of like, I guess if someone was a football fan only, like I love football, basketball's stupid,
right,
then they would watch that. But I think the more you grow up as a sports fan, you like, no, it's this season and it's this season. So, and plus all the other sports do it that way. Their AAA season coincides. I don't know why.
Well, I think the other one was that they were doing that in springtime.
Right.
In Europe.
But you've already got professional, then people have their favorite college team. Some people that like it will have that actually follow high school football.
Right.
So then to add, this would be like, I guess it'd be in between college and NFL. Is there enough money there, though?
Well, it's kind of like baseball. After the baseball season's over, what do? Well, they have the Arizona League. They have the fall leagues, and they play
down in
they play in Mexico, and they play in Latin America, and they play in California, Arizona League, right? Like they have extra time that they play, So
I don't know, Coach. I think I'm done. I'm good. I think I'll play in the sit in the recliner league until February.
Yeah, if you don't mind, I'll relax.
Oh, I don't know. There would be something to be said to recuperating your body also, I would think.
That's true. Okay.
I don't know.
You're sold. I'm sold on that. You can do the next podcast, Steve.
What?
From the couch. Boom. All you gotta do is take the mic. You just gotta take the mic, bro. Take it down.
No, it's okay. I want to be projecting from my diaphragm.
I don't know. So what do you think? You know what? It's the first time we've actually had these mics, which these are good. These are actually stand-up mics. And I busted out the video, the VR camera. So that was most of what we're going to talk about for that particular part. Also, World Series. We got a new manager.
Yeah, that's a fun World Series.
Should we go to another segment after that? Well, this is the end of the first segment. We'll talk to you guys in a bit.
How long was that? Talking baseball.
Baseball. Hey, I like to travel quite a little bit. I do stuff for my day job.
Yep.
I'm always rocking a Royals hat, right? love.
That's probably a fun thing to do in different cities. Go to the stadium. I mean, because there's like 3 or 4 shitty ones, but for the most part, they're all pretty cool stadiums.
I've been to a lot of different stadiums. I've not been to more than 10, but I've been to different stadiums. But I like to rock the Royals hat everywhere that I go. Big fan of the Royals, and the Royals have a new manager.
Yes.
Yes.
I don't even know why St. Louis let him go.
Really? Were they why? What was their reason? Were they mad at him? He had a pretty good winning record.
I guess it was not good enough.
I thought they said that he was like super.
I mean, it kind of coincided with the Cubs us taking the division, but that was kind of short lived. St. Louis won the division again this year.
It seemed like St. Louis did a pretty good job.
He won the 4 division titles.
They went to the playoffs 4 times in a row.
No, under Matheny.
Oh yeah. Okay. In the 7 years, he went 4 times.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
dang, that's pretty good. In the Royals, last 30 years, we've gone for 2 years, 14 and 15. We didn't make it again in 16. Didn't make it again in 17.
They've made the World Series 4. 80,
made it to the World Series 4 times.
80, 85, 14, and 15.
In the playoffs.
Oh, playoffs? Yeah, just 14 and 15.
Yeah, 14 and 15, and 85. Yeah.
Yeah.
And 84.
2003, they were like in first all the way until late July or August, I think. Do you remember that?
Nosotros.
Yeah, exactly.
We are together.
Yeah. And that's the one year they finished over 500, like in that whole 15-year span.
That was fun. That was fun watching those games. I liked that, the Mike Sweeney team and the bunch of different players.
There was one team, they almost were 500 because all the position players were so awesome, but their bullpen was horrible. Do you remember that?
Is that when Bob Hamlin?
No, it was... maybe he was on the team. It was mostly like Beltran was a rookie, and Damon was like a second-year player.
Yeah, and Jermaine Dye. That was really good.
Jermaine Dye.
I think that's the thing, is that we just haven't had good pitching. Like this year, I can see ascension within a lot of our players, and hopefully in the minors we got some good pitchers coming. That's what they say. There's some good pitchers coming. We know we drafted some.
That one draft like 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, Brady, Singer, and those other guys.
Cower, Singer.
I think those guys have potential to be really good. I'm looking forward to that. So maybe this Mike Matheny guy, he's set up for the next run, and maybe we'll get.
If you think about it, not to say that they would be really good, but just studying all the main position players individually, it feels like they should be closer to average than completely horrible.
Right. It would seem.
I know that. Like,
I mean, dude, Jorge Soler smashed 48 home runs. And freaking Merrifield has the most hits in the league.
And Mondesi was, basically they hardly ever threw him out stealing.
Yeah.
I know he was out. He was out too much.
Dozier was crunching.
Dozier was definitely an above average player.
Yeah. Pitching just sucked.
I guess that's it.
It's not good pitching.
Nope.
We've said this before. We've had a conversation about this, but Yordano Ventura dying really sort of set back our pitching staff, because he was set up to be here until 2022. You know what I mean? Like that is the point. He was going to be the
and
ace.
Duffy.
Him and Duffy were.
He never really took off. He just shows flashes, and then
he's got some mental issues. I think that's something to plague him. That stuff goes on in your head, and if you can't control the stuff that goes on,
but it's with the next wave. The way salaries are structured in baseball, you have to kind of strike where the iron is hot in like their third through 6 years. Mm-hmm. And actually a lot of pitchers don't have more than that left on their arms anyway. It feels like a lot of them in their 30s. It depends, depending on how crafty they are.
The World Series, man, Greinke.
Well, depending upon how crafty they are.
He's pretty crafty.
He can throw a different pitch every single mile-an-hour difference between 75 and 90. Like
ridiculous.
That's pretty amazing.
I've always enjoyed watching Greinke play. Plus, he's hilarious. Like, he's just kind of awkward, and there's things that he says, he's just so blunt.
Yeah, he was positioned to win the. That's what's so funny about it, because that was their Achilles heel all year. Was they were sitting. He gave them the pitching performance they needed, but then the 8th inning guy let him down.
Yeah, the 8th inning guy just totally blew it. But you know what? The thing is that Greinke was doing really good. And then that dude hit a home run, and then he ends up walking the next guy, or the next guy get a hit, and then the manager pulled him out pretty quick. But, dude, he was throwing no-hitter level baseball. And he only had 80 pitches.
It was at 80 exactly.
Yeah, I thought they should have left him in. What are you going to do?
Well, if you do that and then the next guy gets on, then he's in line to be the loser.
Right.
So that's the mentality.
Well, when they know your eighth inning guy is a loser.
well, what actually not? It's not really his fault because it was the seventh inning.
Right.
So he could say like, "Hey, what are you bringing me on?"
Right.
I can't.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's one of those problems. Dude. If Greinke has 80 pitches and he's pitched pretty much no hit, let him get out of it. You got to give him the grace to do that. I don't think they necessarily did.
But Washington had a gritty team.
Yeah.
Kind of reminded me of the 2014 Royals.
Yeah. It seemed like their season seemed to be that because they won the wild card in dynamic fashion over the Expos.
That's true.
I watched that game. They came back in like the
Brewers.
The bottom of the ninth. One of them, they came back. I don't remember which inning it was, but I remember they came back and it was exciting. And
pretty clutch winning against the Dodgers. That's the one that surprised me.
Dude, they shut him down. I didn't think they were gonna be able to.
Well,
do that
Strasburg, he just had ridiculous performance.
Yep. And Verlander did not pitch well. He did win game 2, but
his ERA was 5 something for the postseason.
Garrett Cole, he's going to go somewhere. Anyways, that's baseball this year. Baseball's over now. We got a new manager.
We will talk about baseball again in February. I suppose.
You know what's so weird about this episode right here? One of the first episodes that we go NFL and Major League Baseball and
basketball,
college basketball. We'll be right back here in a few to talk about college basketball. All right, so college sports is a thing, and we like it.
It's a thing that I'm depressed about right now.
We have just sat here and watched the Kansas-Duke game, and as Jayhawk fans, didn't turn out in our favor.
You cannot win with 27 turnovers.
Yeah, 27 turnovers. So this is actually the first time that we've done a podcast with one of our teams have lost. We normally...
Yeah, we're not supposed to do that, right? That game was not that important, I guess, in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, you know what? That's the end of the year kind of thing. That's kind of a sad deal. But Chiefs won, and that's good. And we're going to talk about some football stuff. We're talking about some basketball stuff here. So we talked a little bit about that. We talked about KU in the last segment or earlier on that they
this is the first night. Oh, you're talking about? Oh, yeah, But they also got killed by K-State.
Yeah, they also got killed by K-State. So that's but actually K-State is
sitting. They are sitting in third place, and they're actually a huge game this weekend. They go to Texas. But I think they're better.
They should be able to.
They seem better.
Didn't Kansas give them Texas a run? So come on.
Yeah. They just shoved KU around the line of scrimmage. So I would not. I would think K-State should be.
If you were a betting man, which I know you're not because you're a very honest person, you never do something like gambling. Now, would you think that what are the odds that K-State could beat Texas in Austin?
I would think they should.
You think they should?
I think they should.
Is Texas ranked?
They are not.
Okay, well then
K-State is 16. Texas is what?
Not ranked.
They are not ranked. You're right.
Okay, so it seems to me like they should win that game then. Cool deal. Well, good luck to them.
And then, it'll probably come down to Baylor, Oklahoma. It's weird how they do it without divisions. Mm-hmm. You're going to have a rematch.
I was watching some college football this weekend. Next weekend, though, there's some amazing football.
LSU and Alabama.
And Alabama 1 versus 2?
Yes, they're both.
That should be fun.
And then also in the Big Ten, number 5 Penn State plays number 13 Minnesota.
Okay.
And they're both undefeated.
Interesting.
So actually, for the Big Ten, their big showdown will be November 23rd, Ohio State and Penn State.
Okay. Maybe the big one's there.
That'll be the big one there.
Good stuff. And then so how the new playoff system, which has now been in order for a couple of years, was it like the top one from the SEC, the top one from the...
No, they just pick 4 teams.
4 they like?
Yeah. It basically works out. Usually works out to 4 champions. You could get in with a 1 loss, but it's tougher. It'd be like the LSU Alabama loser or the Ohio State Penn State loser would have a resume fairly equal to it, but it's kind of tough because then you didn't
win your league.
Didn't accomplish. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but Alabama will find a way to win it because they always do. It's like Alabama, Crimson Tide, and the Patriots every freaking year, every sport.
But looking at the way they've got Utah and Oregon,
betting man, just go ahead and bet Alabama, bet the Patriots. They're going to win the Super Bowl.
In Oklahoma, they're
fucking always
not showing much love to the Big 12 and Pac-12 in this rankings here. Bless you.
Sneeze in VR, baby.
So, but today is also the first day of college basketball season.
Yes, it was, and so
not just for us. It's a lot, almost
the whole
like half the country has games tonight. Yeah.
That's great. Well, and actually, we're number 3, or we were.
Probably not now.
Probably not now because we lost to Duke. Too many turnovers.
Yeah.
Not enough.
I think that's actually what you want that's kind of what you want though in the beginning.
Yeah. You know what? Have a loss. You're not big shit yet. You got a lot of shit you got to learn. Get back to work, Jayhawks.
I mean, if you go back and win the Maui Classic, then you get
Redeem
back.
Yourself
you get back on track. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah,
it's very college basketball is definitely more of a marathon than a sprint.
Yeah, and actually, right now the game is going on. Number 1 versus number 2, Michigan State versus Kentucky is going on right now.
As we
and
speak.
The halftime. What's the halftime score?
Kentucky was ahead by 11.
Kentucky was ahead by 11.
Should I check again here?
That's okay. Probably about something like that.
Whoa!
Look at that. Can't be putting too much weight on the table here.
It is. Yep. So 34-24.
34-24. All right, in the second half. So we might turn the rest of that on there. Good stuff.
And yeah.
Any other sports stuff that's important that we need to talk about, Mr. Steve Moser? Uh-oh. Look at the clock. There's 4:20 left on the clock.
Oh.
We'll be right back.
My favorite time of day.
Welcome back to the show. 4:20 left on the clock, and here we are. First time we've had VR, Mr. Moser.
I like it.
It'll be interesting to see how it comes out. I've tested on a little bit. We've not done.
It's probably better for attractive people.
Probably better.
Not
4K,
bald people.
Not to have like old.
I tell you about that. I don't consider myself a chubby person, but I just got my driver's license picture, and I really look fat. Here, should I show you?
Sure, go ahead. I have my driver's license picture, and coincidentally, I also look fat. Yeah, you look fat and old, Steve. Look at that. Guess what? It seems to happen. You get older. You get.
But I'm medium-sized and not.
You were very expressive in that photo. Funny. Good stuff.
Look at that. St. Mary's, Wisconsin, in overtime.
OT, baby. 4 seconds left in OT. So, college basketball is a fun time of year, right? I don't know how well you can see. You can actually watch us watching sports, but Kentucky is playing
true.
Michigan right there. We're trying to do
This is the final. This is supposed to be the comedy part of it instead of the sports. Is that right?
Yeah, and here we are.
I had a gig last Tuesday.
You did. You did some comedy.
It was fun.
That was good. What was some jokes that went well? Any jokes? Because you talked about dating.
I just talked about dating.
Dating in Overland Park, dating Johnson County.
Being horrible at it, yep.
Dating 45-year-old divorced Johnson County.
Well, I was on this group.
That's a challenge. That is a tough thing.
First I started saying I was a lawyer because that sounded like a richer thing, you know. But they had all these questions, and actually it turned out that was like okay to be rich. They wanted you to be more than rich. They wanted you to be
super
rich, like generationally. So I actually made up this story about how my grandfather invented the drive-through ATM. And she's like, "What was that called?" I go, "Oh, you may have heard of our company. It's called Cash Me Outside."
Cash Me Outside. Wow.
How about right? Hey, what is this meme where the 45-year-old divorced lady and the smug cat are having a big disagreement? Well, that's all over the.
Yeah.
What is that about?
That has been a meme. Well, it's the pissed off woman and the cat who's just got like a smart ass look on his face.
Right.
And that actually happened like at the White House a couple weeks ago, whenever Pelosi was like, and Trump was like, okay. And it was real life memes. They actually created the meme in real life. It's crazy. Pissed off people.
It looked like a lady from one of Christie's soap operas.
I don't know. You know what? I think
Real Housewives of some shitty metropolitan area or whatever.
Yeah. Who watches that shit?
Christie.
Christy watches that shit. Wow. Like I did see this I was going through the guide, and I saw that Jersey Shore had like a reunion. No, I saw it trending on Twitter, and I was like, JS reunion. What is this? Why is that the number one trend in America? It's like, oh well, because America's dumb, and it was Jersey Shore, and like, you know,
Beverly Hills 90210 started it back up again. But like, what happened to it? Is it still gone? I haven't heard about much about it.
Is that Luke dude? Is he still dead?
He's passed on.
Yeah, he's still dead.
He doesn't come back to life.
Dylan, was that?
Nah, that would get you some viewers. Dude, Dylan came back to life. Like, oh, what about that one?
Dylan.
What about that dorky kid that committed suicide at the end of season 2 or whatever?
Of what?
The kid with the bowl cut.
What show was that?
On 90210.
90210. You're asking me if I remember specifically on season 2, fucking 1989 or some shit? Seriously? Remember at the end of season 2 where the kid like, no? Good Lord, I wasn't watching that shit.
I wasn't either. Now, that'll be a good Monday Night Football game.
You were watching Dynasty.
Seahawks and 49ers. What?
Dynasty?
In the 80s, I watched Dallas. Yeah, I watched Dallas and Dynasty. They were back-to-back. Actually, it was Dukes of Hazzard. Dallas.
Dukes of Hazzard.
Dallas at 8, Dynasty at 9.
Yeah, I got stuck in that thing sometimes too.
Well, we only had like
4 channels.
No, we had cable, channels. But back then cable was like 30 channels, not like hundreds of channels.
Yeah, mid-80s. Yeah, because like the movie channel was kicking up, CNN had happened, TBS had happened. There was quite a few. Then like Kansas City had a station.
Because I remember there was a lot of good channels, but the number was like between 25 and 40, and like ESPN was 36. But like, and then there's also good channels in the single digits, but like the 11 to 20 was just like C-SPAN and all these worthless channels. Yeah. So I would go from one end to the other, just like, and my dad would get, oh, you're going to strip the gears. He'd get all mad about that. Yeah. And now that I'm the old guy, I'd be like, oh yeah, that would totally strip the gears. I can see his frustration. Yeah. The teenager people who are like, oh, Dad.
I was just always disappointed, like in the good years of MTV, it wasn't in my hometown.
Oh, we had it,
yeah, it sucked. Like,
and that was back when they played videos.
Yeah, when they were playing videos.
Now they still do, but you have to watch a channel called MTV2. The regular MTV is just nothing but shitty like reality shows.
It's not music television. No. It's reality TV.
But MTV2 is music television.
VH1 used to be really big. It's showing a lot of videos and stuff. I used to like watching VH1. Inside the music or behind the music and those different things were pretty good. Right on.
120 minutes. That was always cool.
Yeah. Love watching the videos.
All right, where are your travels taking you? To Iceland, did you say?
Yeah, I'll be going to Iceland sometime here near the end of
I'm going to San Diego.
Going to San Diego? Very nice.
I think Iceland is...
Are you going to you should do some comedy in San Diego. If there's any open mics, you should research that before you go. Well, Steve Moser, he's a comedian. He likes to do comedy here in Kansas City area. You know what? I'm going to start doing comedy again. I got on comedy back in '95 was the first time I did stand-up comedy. Dang. And then I did it for a few years, and then I took a break. And then like 2010, Gary and I convinced me to start doing comedy. So I did that. There's a lot of really cool people in the local comedy scene in Kansas City. I assume probably there's a lot of cool comedians in a lot of different cities. I wonder how many cities are as organized with the comedians as Kansas City is.
I don't know. But what's frustrating for Kansas City for the size that there's only 2 clubs. It seems like most cities this size have 4 or 5 comedy clubs.
Right. Well, we're lucky to even have 1 comedy club.
Do you think?
I don't know. Well, it's better than 0. Plus, I mean, some of these bars, people were setting up their own.
Yeah, you have all the sideshows.
Yeah, the sideshows, that's where the fun is. Those open mics and the sideshows.
So this is shaping up to be a good game between Kentucky and Michigan State.
Yep. And that's all the time we have on the clock today, folks. We're gonna.
Is that 420?
It's been enough of time. People are tired of hearing us talk.
Yeah, probably so.
They tuned out long ago, Steve.
All right. See you next week.
Maybe, depending on if the team wins or not.
Oh, yeah. Should we preview that?
Yeah. What's that?
At Tennessee.
At Tennessee.
You know, actually, that's a pretty close road. Do you think the Chiefs will have a large contingent of fans?
Yeah, well, I think there's a lot of Chiefs fans nationally.
You can drive to Nashville in 8 or 9 hours, right?
Yeah, and I was in Vegas this past week. I saw the development of the Raiders' new stadium.
And whose house?
Pretty cool driving by that out there.
Whose house was that poker tournament at?
Yeah, there was a poker tournament at one of Mike Tyson's old houses. He got bankruptcy. So it was his house before he got bankrupt. What happened was he spent too much money on stupid shit, and then I forgot to feed my tiger, and then my tiger ate all my flamingos because I don't know. I was like, one day I was like, where my flamingos at? I had like 40 flamingos. All of a sudden I got 0, but I got a lot of feathers on the ground. I figured it out. My tiger.
And Mike, did someone try to convince you to have a budget with a monthly car payment in the $220 range?
That would be atrocious. I can't even imagine driving a shit car like that. I'm fucking Mike Tyson. You know what I mean? Like, I punch people in the mouth and take their car. That's why I got 3 Bugattis. I don't even drive them. I don't even know how to drive a Bugatti. I like to have them.
Nobody's taught you the value of buying a $10,000 car instead of a $30,000 car.
As I said before, Steve, that'd be preposterous. There's no reason on earth that I would need to have a $10,000 car. I got $10,000 tires.
Dave Ramsey. Would you like to see Mike Tyson versus Dave Ramsey?
This is why you're broke, Mike. God, come on. I don't know. I got a really good idea in this drug, in these medical marijuana. I think it's going to be huge. Have you seen Hot Boxing with Mike Tyson? Have you seen that show? No. There's a video on YouTube. It's called Hot Boxing with Mike Tyson. You get stoned with Mike Tyson.
I can't ever tell when you're smiling or when it's your face there, Mike.
Right.
Your thing on your face, that's kind of
Yeah, like you got to have balls to be like, you know what? I'm going to put something very fierce on my face. I want something ferocious.
Oh, shit. I have a very small tattoo. I think I'm a huge puss because
did it hurt so bad? You're like, I'm gonna have a bigger one. Like, no.
Oh, it hurts so fucking bad, and it's all dinky. Whenever I see someone with a huge tattoo, I think like, oh, ow,
you're such a man.
You're such a non-wuss. All right, so this weekend we got LSU, Alabama.
Yep.
Chiefs at Tennessee.
Mm-hmm. Jayhawks are going to play somebody probably.
No, we have the bye week.
Bye week? No, Jayhawks.
Oh, we play UNC Greensboro Friday evening.
Okay. And then we go to Maui?
That is before Thanksgiving.
Okay.
They have 2 or 3 games before that. Yeah.
Well, we're not going to talk to the fans for a while because, Chiefs might lose this next week. And then we can't guarantee we'll see you next week because our team might not win.
Peace.
Right. Thank you so much. We'll see you guys next time, whenever that is.
Thank you for stopping by, Mike.